topic that we get a lot of those questions lately. It's actually growing quite a lot as well. So I have a straightforward answer for the B2B people here, and not that straightforward answer for the B2C people here. But in B2B, the world is rather simple, right? If you're in B2B, the main options you have to go for is Salesforce, HubSpot, and then a small minority platforms like Pipedrive and other stuff. And if you're not already a millionaire or a very big company, you can probably not afford Salesforce. That will come later, and I would anyways not recommend you to go into this direction because it just comes with huge costs and huge setup, and it's not very intuitive for like a young startup. The answer is definitely go with HubSpot, right? This is what I can recommend from the deepest of my heart. It's not as cheap as other tools, like Pipedrive might be cheaper, but if you invest into any kind of like simpler or cheaper CRM, then sooner or later you need to make a switch. You need to make a switch to another CRM. We get that quite often, and that's a pain, right? It's a big pain. We're gonna spend big bucks to do that, and we want to avoid that. So if you're a B2B company, check out HubSpot. There's a freemium version. There is a first tier, which is also very low cost. If you want to do anything towards automation, you need to have a pro version that it gets more expensive. There's discounts. So there's HubSpot for startups. Depending what kind of investors you have in the background, you get up to 90% discount. So that's pretty cool. So that's just in terms of the options. I'm going to talk about implementation a little bit later, but now let's switch to the B2C side. If you're in B2C, things a little bit more complex, right? Because depending if you're like a e-commerce company, D2C, or some B2C app, the world looks completely different. Very often, we see B2C companies that are exactly neglecting on the investment of a CRM. They're like asking themselves, well, why do I need that, right? I mean, I have my online shop or something else, and I have an email marketing tool that's quite okay, right? But then when we ask them, so how do you re-engage with your customers? How do you do cross-selling? How do you do upselling? How do you build retention campaigns? Then like, oh, well, we cannot really do that, right? And so within the B2C space, this is very important. So there are different tools, for example, like Klaviyo is doing a really good job here, where you want to make sure that you also have a system in place where on one hand, you can really track all the people that are coming into your direction, that are not just purchasing, but interested in purchasing something. Then you can lead nurture them until they buy something. And then you want to have all the demographic data as well as the behavioral data of those customers in your CRM, because this then allows you to send, we call that trigger-based campaigns based on behavior, based on the season or whatsoever, which are individualized on the user, not just generic newsletters, so they can actually re-engage with those people and do those upsells correctly. So when now it comes about the implementation, then I think on the B2C side, it's also easier to just get started with some of those tools. On the B2B side, I recommend you very straightforward, get a partner. Like get someone that knows how to set up a CRM. You can invest all the way from 5 to 30K into such a setup. It's highly recommended to do that, because if you don't, then things happen like happened to us at Beekeeper. We start with HubSpot as our marketing automation tool. At some point, we have Salesforce as well. We have 2 tools. It's a big mess. People come, people go. And at some point, we invest around 40,000, 50,000 Swiss francs just to clean up the entire mess that has been built over the past years. So such a cleanup investment you can actually avoid by just investing into a solid implementation with a partner in the beginning. I can lash out even more on that, why in the details, but I think it's going too deep. But overall, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, just to add on that, I think it's also super important that once this implementation is done, especially if it has cost you a bit of money, you need to be super diligent with your team on using the system the right way, because it's not completely automated. Everything is going to work by itself. You need people to really use flag the data properly, use the system in the right way. So there's still some work that has to be done, and this, especially on the sales side, that's sometimes really stressful, and they don't necessarily see the benefits of it really quickly, but you need to have a really good eye on this, because otherwise, even with the best setup, 2 weeks or 2 months down the road, it will be so messy again that you've just wasted this money. So yeah, that's really important to do that properly. To look at the data every 2-3 days and tell people if something's not good, and really train everyone to use it in the same way, or to use it in the right way, because otherwise even the best CRM or the best sales tool will not help you down the road.